Hey, okay. Have I have a voice. It's very little, but that's okay. Let me see. I'm gonna let you guys see it really quick, and then I'm totally gonna record this. I will open this up if you guys have a question at the end, but the goal is that I kind of just lay out how the challenge is gonna go with this one, since I'm not gonna talk a ton. Um, but I'm gonna start the official teaching Zooms tomorrow. So talk a little bit about that. I think some more people might join, but if not, I'm going to post this replay. So I want to show up anyway. I think it's important to show up, even if you're not in your best. So we had pushed through laryngitis. I've done so many calls, and now I'm about at my max for my voice today, but hopefully you guys can hear me. This is not the norm. But I just want to welcome everybody to the 21-day challenge. This is honestly probably gonna be like a 30-day by the time we do the wrap up, but it's 21 days of teaching Zooms, and basically, I'm gonna share my entire method that shifted me and my family out of chronic illness, only by using literally the power of the mind. So, it's a really radical thought process, and I'm not gonna lie, along the way, we did try so many things, but I started to notice a pattern. So, specifically with, supplements and consistency, a lot of you have not heard, my full story, or you may have caught it on Instagram. Some of y'all are working with me, some of y'all are new to working with me, some of you guys have worked with me in the past and already been through intensives, which I'm super excited for a few of y'all to share your story, but basically in 2020 after having a baby, I got really sick and I was doing all the right things. Like I had a toxin-free home. I ate completely clean, gluten-free, dairy-free. Like when I say clean, like real clean, like not like gas station keto. Like I literally was eating like fruits, vegetables, meats, whole 30, straight whole 30. So really paleo strict. Um, we had no Wi-Fi. We had no smart TVs in our house. So we were literally living clean. And then anyway, I still got so ill after having a baby. So I had my 4th baby and my health tanked. So I was debilitated in the bed, could not get out of bed. I was dizzy every time I ate. I was nauseous, couldn't hold any food down, was literally the color green. It was wild. So as soon as my son was born, I started having insane panic attacks, like literally believing that I was going to die, which was the most crazy thing. And all the doctors were like, well, I mean, classic allopathic, you're depressed, you're going through postpartum depression, which while that was true, that was obviously not the root cause, right? So they were like, you're obviously going crazy. You need to get on Lexapro. And I had the prescription in my hand, it filled, and the Holy Spirit was like, yeah, no, that's definitely not the way. You already platformed about that in 2018. So I was like, okay, cool. You can't really go viral for saying women do not need SSRIs and then go get back on an SSRI. Like that doesn't make any sense. So decided to tough it out. I got in contact with a functional medicine doctor, which I, at the time, thought that's got to be the answer, right? I'm deficient in supplements. Like something is wrong with me. So, me and my husband spent between functional medicine, uh, IV therapy, all kinds of stuff. In 2021, we spent $32,000 on our health, like my health, our family's health. And literally, finally, my husband looked at me when the last box of network marketing supplements arrived, and he was like, we're done. Like literally, I'm leaving if another box of shit comes to our house. So I was like, well, I obviously don't want you to leave. And he was serious. He's like, why are you not well? Like, I don't get it. He's like, there's got to be something that we're missing. So I literally prayed. I'm like, okay, it does not say we're deficient in pills in the Bible. So I can't reconcile that in my mind. So I was praying. I'm like, okay, well, God, just show me what I need, right? Like what's going on with me. And it turned out that I met the naturopath that now has trained me, who's a renowned cancer doctor, healing cancer completely holistically with brain training and Starving the Body. So basically the Truth About Cancer Protocol, which is coffee enemas and the extreme elimination diet, which we're not going to do that in this cleanse. So nobody freak out. But in my case, that doctor was like, your mind is literally jacked up. Like you have so many things going on that you believe you're acting like your mother, like your childhood stress is just come to a head. He's like, and when you have a baby, you're often faced with those generational patterns and it's time to correct those, right? He's like, it's called an anniversary event. You face your stuff in the form of illness. So I started going through like, excuse me, this rabbit hole. And I'm gonna post the 2 books that changed my life in our thread. But one was The Mind Body Prescription by Dr. John Sarno, and the second one was the book that came with this challenge. So it's the Ina Siegel Secret Language of the Body book. If you guys have worked with me or you're working with me, you know that I like to demand my clients get this book because I like to teach you to use this book every single day. Like my goal is not that you call me for $120 appointments every time you need something. My goal is that we do an intensive and you are now equipped to handle your family's basic triage and health. And like, look, it is so nice to have devices. Like, I have a device that is a beautiful device that can tell me if something is spiritual, emotional, or physical. Like, I had this little upper respiratory thing popped up. Scan myself today. I'm going to post the video about that in the thread just so you guys can kind of see, like, start to unpack like what I mean. But I scanned for staph in my lungs and throat, but then when I ran the therapy on myself, which is the frequencies that are the natural frequencies that, restore neural pathways, that staph completely disappears off the scan. So why is that, right? Do I have staph or am I having a mind reaction? Like you had to ask yourself that question. So what is so cool is that I designed this reset to teach you the thought process about how to listen to the body, like how to reframe your brain around these processes that are happening with the body and how to find this duality in these symptoms because the truth is that there's duality in these symptoms. Like I'll give you like a tangible example because it's the best way to explain things and it's just also like my teaching style. So like, I have a client, she suddenly stops sleeping, develops insomnia, super tired, chronic fatigue, everything that comes with that. Well, naturally, we think, let's look at the liver, right? Because the liver is active between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m. And turns out we scan her, and yeah, she has a little bit of liver congestion. But then we ask ourselves, like, why is that, right? So turns out after much investigation and discovery, she's like, her day with friends and being a new mother. And she's like, I'm the go to person for all my friends, like problems. Like they come and unload onto me. Like I'm the most positive person that I know, like in my life. And they like people love me for that. And I like asked her, I'm like, do you like that role? Like, truly, do you like being that person? Because that sounds pretty like of a difficult place to be, right? Like, and she's like, like, I actually don't like it that much. Like, I'm actually not that into it. And so it's so funny because I said, well, what a beautiful thing that the body, not only is the liver the anger center of the body, but that the body will put you down quite literally, make you exhausted, hijack your day, all these things that we think are a total pain in the ass. But the body will do that and respond because it's so good. It's always working things for your good. So the cool part about that is like she had the opportunity to be tired and say no to her friends, to say no to meeting and coffees and spend some time alone figuring out herself and why she wants to be in that role with friends and who put her in that in childhood and all this stuff. So it's not about going back into your trauma or like reliving it. Sometimes that can be helpful. Like there are cases where if we can't figure out like one moment in time that you might have developed a belief system that's helpful. But oftentimes so many people rehash, rehash, and rehash that. And I just want to teach you guys how to build new belief systems around the body, like how to look at the body as made in the image of God, like truly the one true God. Like we are so complex in that way. Like the first time that God ever showed himself to a human in the Bible was in the form of a rainbow. I find it so interesting that we also have a rainbow, the chakras inside our body. Like, that is wild to me. Like, I'm like, so we literally are like made in the image of God. And all throughout the Bible, we see these instances where like it's just deeper than what we've been told. Like, it's not about like the promise to just Noah, you know what I mean? Or Moses, Abram, whoever saw the rainbow. I just know that's real. Like, I'm like not a scripture guru, you guys. But for the sake of like this challenge is just so interesting because even that had been radically by an organization or multiple organizations that like have an agenda, right? They feed an agenda. Like I talk about this all the time. There's a reason why every single church's name is on the side of every single hospital. Like they co-branded together because it made sense. It drives people in the door. It like makes total sense, but it's counter to what God says. Like I'm not saying you never use a hospital. I'm somebody with a pacemaker in my body, so to say that would be completely hypocritical. But now I can recognize how I got that on my journey. I was sold into that idea by doctors. Like at the point in time of my heart surgery, I was told that 82% of people get a pacemaker when they wake up. And I was operating in this huge belief system of like, everything that happens is going to happen to me. Like, I'm literally a victim in life because my life has been so hard. And that idea sounded so good to me. Like, when they said, oh, 82% of people will get a pacemaker, I was like, sign me up because everything happens to me. Like, I'm definitely going to get a pacemaker. So I woke up from heart surgery and literally what happened? Um, had a normal sinus rhythm for 3 days. My heart was completely fine. And then I was like, maybe I need that pacemaker. Like, true story. I was like, I think I actually need that. And like my heart rate just tanked, like went down, right? And hearts need time to recover when you've cut them open. Like it's that simple. So it's like our bodies aren't that different, right? Like we can control the injury, like we can choose something like a surgery or something like that. And then there are injuries that we can't choose, like a sudden death or a divorce or things like that that come out of nowhere. But the point is that we have to really start to see that all these responses in the body, they are there because they're working for our good. They're there to do processes. Like, I'm like so interesting. I have the most mucus coming out of my head I've ever seen in my life with like blood and everything else. I'm like, wow, this is just ridiculous. But yet there's no viruses in my scan. So I'm like, what is that? Right? Like, what is in that mucus? And the natural thing would be like, oh, it's definitely toxins, it's my environment, it's mold, it's whatever. I muscle tested myself today and none of that registered. All of it was held back tears from grief with my husband that I've been experiencing over the last 2 years and like rejection trauma. And so I literally like just decided to like let that go and during my coffee enemas, I'm like praying to let this go. I'm just like, Jesus, show me how to let this go, reveal the true nature. Like, honestly, my body's safe to release this now. And y'all, like, the mucus is like pouring out. It's like wild. It's literally just like everywhere. I can't even deal with it. And it's so funny. But I just wanted to kind of like preface this by saying a lot is going to be mind work and I'm gonna post the schedule for the Zooms. The way the Zooms are gonna go down is I do not expect everybody to attend every single one. They are gonna be at 1 Eastern every single day, even on the weekends, which I know for some people is gonna be like a big challenge. But I encourage you when you see like um when you see like the topics, the list of the 21. No, shut my door. Can I give this a try? No, you can. When you see the list of the 21 topics, like go through them and see what resonates with you, what you want to learn the most about. Because if you show up on those live, then chances are that's what like you're supposed to be seeing right now, right? And I want you to watch every single replay. You'll have these for life. Like you can download these from the chat. You're never going to lose them. But the Zooms are going to be 20 minutes long, and then there's going to be a 10-minute Q&A after, or like a 10-minute like back and forth where I'm going to hang on. So you can get to go deeper like on your individual issues, which is so nice. Like if you don't feel comfortable in a group setting, for sure message me on Voxer outside of that, and I'm totally happy to address whatever it is. So that's the goal. I'm gonna teach you guys how I muscle test, how I triage myself, how I go through the mind work, a lot of the neural prompts that I find myself using like every single day to retrain the brain into certain belief systems. And yeah, this is the first one. So if you have feedback, I'm totally open to it because this is something that like God laid on my heart to do. And he's like, I think there's people who need this and who would resonate with this. So I'm excited to offer it. And that is like pretty much it. I wanted to kind of kick this off with that. I will open it up to the questions like for the ones that are here. And then again, I'll post the replay in the chat in just a few minutes. So welcome. I'm excited. Print the guide. If you are the type of person that works through a guide, it's like, I hope very thorough and fun. It has like a list of protocols that I find myself using like almost every day in there. And then I'm gonna go deeper into those as well along the way. So like how to maximize coffee enemas or even get into them, how to like get mineralized in your water, like that stuff, the very foundational stuff, getting light, getting your water right, and getting your neural pathways open literally will take you further than any pill or protocol or supplement that is on the market. Like the body just recognizes God's modalities, the way that God communicates with the earth, with our environment, with us. The body recognizes that automatically, doesn't even have to try. So many people will say, oh, I started a supplement protocol, I had a reaction. Why do you have a reaction? Because the body is trying to assimilate what that is. Is it bad? No, not necessarily, but the body is trying to see and it's always trying to decide if something's in its natural form in its encounter. So it's always trying to decide, am I safe? Can I respond to this? Do I need to like be traumatized to this? Like the body is trying to assimilate so much all the time. So once you realize that about the body, you're like, oh, that's why our environment makes such an impact. And I hope you guys find it super valuable. So that's it. Or Cassie, any questions? I will definitely like wrap this up if not. So
I don't think so.
Don't think so. I
I'd be frozen.
Do our own.
our own.
Sorry.
Sorry, Laura, I think we froze.
We froze.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no
We're
worries.
good, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so in the guidebook, the like brain training neuro prompt that we say like in the morning. I know you kind of had mentioned like this was like something like I forget your wording, like specific words
Yeah.
to like help our brain, but then you also had a spot to like kind of include some of our own stuff. So should we always say like that sentence and then include our own, or is it okay just to do our own? It's like sometimes like this morning, like I didn't have my phone, so I just like made it up in my head, like what I
Yeah,
wanted to say.
it's perfectly fine to do your own, like 100% to do your own. Like the kind of main goal with the mirror talk or the neural prompts is like you want to tell your body it's safe and you want to tell your body that you're only your energy. So like a version that I just go to all the time is like, I'm Chelsea, only Chelsea, I'm safe being me, I love being me. Or like, I'm Chelsea, only Chelsea, I don't need anyone else's energy but mine. Or like, I am Chelsea, only Chelsea. Show me what I need to participate in right now. The rest is none of my business. So, like, that's just an example. Like, but if you have something really sticky, like you're overwhelmed in motherhood, or, like you're really afraid, like this morning, I was like, maybe I should go to the doctor. Like, literally, I'm like, this is like day 8. And I'm not like anti doctors, but I'm also like, I'm gonna go to urgent care. They're gonna give me like a Z-Pack. Like this is ridiculous. So, and I have a bioresonance device in my home. Like my husband's like, no, scan yourself. I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. She's like, that's ridiculous. So I'm like, okay. But like I was like neuroprompting myself. I'm like, I'm Chelsea, only Chelsea. And like I've literally had green mucus before. Like you're safe, but like have head cold, whatever. Like, so you definitely want to make your own but I want them to be personal to you, but some people like have a really hard time coming up with those at first. And depending on your level of like worthiness or like sometimes your like work ethic, you're like, I don't know what I don't want to do it wrong. there's no wrong way to do that or right way. Like, just do the ones that you feel, and then you'll notice as we go on, like in certain situations during your day, like you'll be able to like literally add those like into your day. And then for me, like so much of that's like second nature now that my brain just thinks that before I have to think it. So that's the goal.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. My kids are like opening the door. So I'm gonna push I'm gonna push pause. Um, and I will see you guys tomorrow and post that Zoom schedule and post this in just a minute. So good night, everybody.